Dr. Phil is almost red-pilled and on the Trump train. He's a little slow coming up. He's about 60% there. This is Dr. Phil, always about Dr. Phil 1.5, almost 2.0. He's learning. He's slow. His audience is even slower. They're just starting to wake up. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. As we encourage Dr. Phil, Dr. Phil, wake up. This is about normies just slowly coming to grips with what's happening in America.
I'm really upset with my 401k, upset when I go to the grocery store.
I'm happy all our friends are upset about their 401k and the prices they see when they go to the grocery store. They're starting to wake up and go, I wonder if I should vote for Biden again. You guys are so slow. Catch up to the rest of us, you normies.
My next guest, Andy Ngo, is an independent journalist best known for reporting, documenting, and exposing Antifa.
Reporting on the far left is really dangerous because there's so few of us doing it.
I'm just trying to be a journalist.
And in 2019, I was beaten by a mob severely. And I was hospitalized.
Dr. Phil's going like, I wonder if we should do something about America. And then he has on Andy Ngo, this journalist who was beaten, sent to the hospital. All for what? What did he do that was so bad? He turned on his camera and recorded Antifa. Dr. Phil, is it time to do something yet?
Antifa has actually tried to kill you on 2 different occasions. What are you saying is so threatening to them?
So what I did as an independent journalist was to go out with my mobile camera to record what was happening at some of these so-called direct actions and protests, which were branded around things that sounded really wonderful. Social justice, racial justice, Black Lives Matter. But the people behind it were actually espousing an ideology of violent revolution, a destruction of America, destruction of the rule of law.
I turned on my camera and they tried to kill me twice and they burned down 4 cities and they're violently trying to end America. That's all. And Dr. Phil's like, well, what should we do?
Y'all agree there's very similar tactics, right?
Absolutely. It looks like it's coordinated from the outside.
Yeah. I was on the UCLA campus when they took down that encampment and interviewed Jewish students getting encircled on campus by these pro-Palestinian students. They would link arms and make circles around. They'd block them where they couldn't go to their classes. They were shoving them, pushing them, assaulting them, tearing their books away from them.
Oh, they only went after the Jews. Who hates Jews? Who's going after the Jews, knocking their books out of their hand? Dr. Phil, he's catching up. He's getting there. He's starting to connect the dots and put it together. I wonder if these leftists are kind of radical.
Why is that not being taught?
Because there's been institutional capture of American universities. This has been a long time project of the far left. Many of the radical revolutionary terrorists of the 60s and 70s, after they were convicted and spent time in prison for their organized crimes, went on to become academics.
Oh, okay. So universities are now being taken over and taught by terrorists. Anything else I should know?
This weaponization of our great institutions, the FBI, Justice Department, and individual states' similar institutions, will lead to one of 2 outcomes. One is more of the same from the other side, tit for tat. That may seem deserved, but it is not the right way forward for America.
And this is where Dr. Phil really blows it. He's going, you don't go after them in the same way. Okay, we're not doing that, he says. Even though they've taken over the FBI and all these government institutions, what's his big plan?
The other is what I call on you to demand from your politicians today: an end to this craziness in order to save the soul and sanity of our country.
Yeah, call on the politicians, because the Republicans are going to do so much. What we need is Congress to launch another investigation and get some more paperwork. Let's subpoena some emails. We're all kind of tired of Congress. That Congress really doesn't do anything, Both sides don't. Chuck Schumer's not the one that brings up Trump to prison. It was judges, the lawfare that they really weaponized against us. And we have to do it back. And Dr. Phil, he's still playing last year's game.
We need our Justice Department to return to the business of meting out justice and not running the political agendas of those currently in power, blindly seeking convictions, warranted or otherwise, and attacking political opponents. That requires a very few important things from each of you, from all of us. Finding your voice, forgiveness, and focus on the way forward.
Okay, those are three things I do not want you to do. Find your voice, forgiveness, and focus on a way forward. Dude, the world is on fire, and he's going, this is his plan going forward. I think he's so well-meaning. I really like his good nature, but this is where a weak response is really bad tactics. We need to talk tactics.
Forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Now he's quoting Jesus on the cross to forgive them. Well, the Bible also says, without repentance, there can be no forgiveness. And the left is not repenting and saying, we want to turn. And that's when you offer forgiveness. You go, guys, you're right. You blew it. If you offer forgiveness before repentance, now you've created a monster. You have rewarded a monster who has not changed.
Forgiveness, and at the same time requiring better.
Okay, well, that's not quite forgiveness. Okay, he's saying forgiveness and require better. I got news for you. The Democrats are not going to get better. So you offer them forgiveness and you're going to require them to be better. We don't want to be better. It works. What we do works. Lawfare works. Get Trump in jail. We want to burn the American public. That's what they want to do. So they have to change, or it's a bad tactic to let them off the hook. Leave them on the hook. And I don't believe in revenge. It's something that we did in the 80s. Mutual assured destruction was what made Russia finally disarm, is you have a giant arms race. You have to build up that arms race. It's the only way that Russia respected us, was going, we could blow you up and you're going to blow us up. That's not revenge. That's a tactic.
We are not some banana republic, for God's sakes.
Where have you been, buddy? We are a banana republic. That's the whole thing. So you can announce that we're not, but it just means you're not paying attention. And I mean, only the left is a banana republic. So what do you do when one side acts like a banana republic and the other side acts like a republic? The banana republic keeps doing what it does against you, and you have no recourse back. You have to do it back to them to say, do you really want to end this? Do you really want to stop this now that we try to jail your president?
I don't like what I see happening in our country. This kind of thing is exactly why I launched Merit Street Media and wrote, We've Got Issues. I don't like seeing the weaponization of our justice system, agencies, and powerful government actions that, frankly, just make my skin crawl. For all of us and for my grandchildren.
If you want to save this for all of you and your grandchildren, you cannot forgive them before they change, or you're going to give your grandchildren, Reagan used to say, we do not negotiate with terrorists. We do not negotiate with these people who have politicized the government. You have to fight them back. You cannot reward them.
If you let your disgust for Biden make you blind to the inevitable consequences of pursuing revenge, then God help the children who will inherit the dystopian nightmare we create.
See, here's the thing is we have not conducted revenge yet. And you just got the dystopian nightmare that forgiveness without results creates. And that's what you're going to give to your grandchildren. You're going to destroy this place if you allow them to do it. We have to take back our country. We have to use lawfare. Mostly we have to use votes to get us to win. When we win, you have to punish your opponents. You have to do similar things back to them so they go, look, let's not do this lawfare thing anymore.
We need leaders who will pledge to end this vicious cycle right now and return us to that safe place where our institutions are no longer bastardized and weaponized, but rather simply serve their intended purpose.
If you're focusing on these leaders, remember, under these current leaders who are in charge, all of these institutions have been bastardized and weaponized over the last 50 years of that slow march through the institutions by Marxists, okay? What is the tactic here? And I'm sorry, I don't even want the tactic to be, I'm not going to rely on the politicians to do this. First of all, the people have to vote. Then we have to demand from our leadership, write letters encouraging Marjorie Taylor Greene to keep being a spark plug. encourage Mike Johnson, Speaker Mike Johnson, to have a backbone, learn how to make a fist, a proverbial fist. We don't advocate violence at all, ever. This is all stuff that can be done. But I mean, I'm not comfortable under Dr. Phil's proposal here. And here's one of his guests on his show.
So it's, and on the TikTok thing, I do get on TikTok, and most of the people I have followed off and on, their TikToks have been taken down if they have anything about Trump.
Anything about Trump gets you kicked off of TikTok, Dr. Phil. What are you going to do about that? You're going to write your legislature? No, it's they've already weaponized TikTok to perform formal censorship. That's happening right now. What are you going to do? Forgive China?
And I just think this is bias. And so that doesn't help his case at all. They just see one side.
Yeah. Does that bother you that they're taking stuff down because it has that in there?
Yeah. Does that bother you? He's so far behind. And what's also neat about Dr. Phil's career, which I really champion, I think he's thinking out loud, but he just scored an interview with Trump. So I'm promoting his show, I'm promoting him, but I'm only encouraging him, dude, you're so far behind on this game. You're playing last year's moves. And it's like, they're going to run circles around you. You'll be in jail and you'll lose your business from Democrats if you don't comply. I'm Doug in Exile.